I'm Ronnie Gunther. It is Pembina Valley Mental Health Awareness Week here on the Eagle with Morden Fire and Rescue, Load Line, and the City of Winkler. And this morning we're excited to have a special guest joining us from the Manitoba Farmer Wellness Program. We have Gerry Friesen with us. Gerry, how are you?
Good morning, Ronnie. I'm fine. Thanks for having me.
And we have Gerry joining us via Microsoft Teams this morning as the situation road-wise there in the LaSalle area wasn't that great, Gerry, or what?
I started out early this morning, Ronnie. I was going to come see you in person, and 1 mile out of LaSalle, I thought, you know what? I'm going to wait with that in-person meeting for another time.
Safe rather than sorry, I think, right?
Exactly. And I'm getting to the age in my life. I used to drive no matter what the weather was, but I've gotten to the age in life where I'm a little more cautious.
You know what? That's good. We're happy that we can connect with you via Microsoft Teams this morning. Gerry, for those that might not know you and how you ended up with the Farmer Wellness Program, we'd love to hear your story and how you got to where you are.
You know, Ronnie, I could start way back when, I suppose, but I don't think we've got the time to do that this morning. I used to farm. I call myself the recovering farmer. I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression while I was farming. As our farm was winding down, I actually got involved with the Manitoba Farm and Rural Stress Line. And through that, actually started telling my own story. I know even going back as far as 2008, I was having conversations with some people regarding the need for the ability for farmers and their families to have in-person counseling. And there never seemed to be the will to do that. There weren't the resources to do that. But 2 years ago, someone contacted me in regards to setting up a program in Manitoba. There's a program on Prince Edward Island. There's one in a few counties in Ontario that we could kind of replicate and build off of. And so we did that, and it's been absolutely phenomenal the way this program started out. I sure know that back in the day when I was diagnosed, having a program such as this would have been really, really helpful. One of the concerns we've heard over the years from farmers is that when they reach out for help, they very often end up with professionals that are not familiar with agriculture. And agriculture has their unique stressors. And if the person you're talking to doesn't understand these stressors you're facing, it's difficult to get the help that you need.
100%. And so is that the mission that Farmer Wellness Program has? That it's to be able to be relatable that way and just be a service there for farmers?
Absolutely. That's basically that we built this program on 4 cornerstones, Ronnie. One was the fact that it needed to be free for farmers. Secondly, very confidential. As much as I'm the CAO of the program, I have no idea who's seeking out for counseling. Farmers and whoever needs the counseling just simply goes to our website and books an appointment with a counselor. All I know is that there's been someone that's receiving counseling. The other one was the fact that the counselors needed to have an awareness, an intimate awareness even of agriculture and the unique stressors that come with it. And the fourth cornerstone was the fact that it needed to be flexible. We've heard stories of people seeking counseling and there's a 2 or 3 month waiting period. And so we wanted to make sure that this would be quick, or that there wouldn't be a long waiting period for clients. And interestingly enough, on a Saturday last fall or late summer, I had an email from someone that was desperately seeking help. And by Sunday evening, we had them hooked up with a counselor. So that's the type of program that we wanted to have out there, free, flexible, and with the counselors being aware of what agriculture is about.
And Gerry, we were talking earlier about the importance of a program like this because agriculture has its own unique stressors, and maybe we can talk a little bit about that, about what those unique stressors are.
Yeah, for sure, Ronnie, and I'm almost not sure where to start with that, and this may age me a little bit. Back when I was growing up, certainly when my father was farming was relatively simple. Excuse me, that has of course changed. Things are becoming more complicated, more complex. Farmers have to make more and more decisions. It seems that there's more and more things outside of their control. Of course, just locally here, 2 years ago, we had a drought in the Red River Valley. Last year, we had excessive moisture. I talked to poultry producers last fall. They've had the avian flu happen, which in my eyes adds a whole new layer to stress when you actually have animals involved and the loss of animals. So there's all kinds of stressors like that. And then you have government policy. You have an increase in taxes, for example. Now the interest rates are going up. And as you can well imagine, and probably heard about how that significantly increases debt servicing. And so there's all of these things that keep adding on to a farmer's stress level. And we've seen surveys done. The University of Guelph did one in 2016. They followed it up with another one in 2021. The numbers in 2016, for example, showed that 45% of farmers were facing high levels of stress. That was compared to 27% in the general population. I'm not sure how they figure out those demographics, but I think the number is accurate. What really was alarming in that survey was the fact that out of 1,100 farmers surveyed across Canada, 58% would have met the criteria for an anxiety classification, which simply means that should they have gone to see a professional, they would have been diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. So these numbers are significant. They did a follow-up survey in 2021, which showed that those numbers hadn't really changed. But what they also did was look further into some other areas. Again, a really concerning number was the fact that 1 out of 4 that were surveyed had suicide ideations over the course of the previous 12 months, which is huge. There was a significant increase in alcohol use. And so all of these things are just an indication of what's really going out there in our agricultural community.
It is, and I've thought about the stress level of a farmer. Where they're putting a lot of investment in a field, and then there are all of these outside things that can happen. You mentioned the drought that we had, and then there's flooding, and then these are things that it means a lot to the regular person, but to a farmer, it's everything, and that can go down deep.
Exactly, and it does, Ronnie, and so. When you have this, and you make a really good point for grain farmers, for example, the fact that they invest all that money in spring and really have no idea what their return is going to be, because so many factors are involved from when the seed gets put in the ground till when that grain gets sold. And so things can change. A couple of years ago, we had suddenly during the course of the summer, after guys had put in their crops, then there was some trade action on canola, for example, I believe to China, which suddenly had a huge implication for farmers who were needing to sell their product to be able to meet their financial obligations.
If somebody is thinking about, hey, you know what, maybe I should reach out to the Manitoba Farmer Wellness Program, let's talk about what they can expect when they do reach out.
You know what, Ronnie? It's a good question, and it's actually quite simple. We have a website. You can find it at manitobafarmerwellness.ca. There's an email address there. There's a telephone number if people want more information. But if they're ready to book an appointment, there's a drop-down menu for booking an appointment. We have 4 counselors that we use for this. You can read their bios, you can read their credentials, and you can reach out to the one that you feel could be most helpful for you. We do appointments in person, virtually, or by telephone. It's very flexible that way. And so nobody knows that you're reaching out except you and the counselor. And so we want people to take advantage of that. One of the points I really like to hit home with, Ronnie, is the fact that there are those out there that may be listening to this that are going, well, I certainly don't need that. But with the statistics I just gave you, you know for a fact that everybody knows someone that could use this program. And so if you're listening and you know of someone that could really benefit from this, don't be shy. Reach out to that person and tell them, hey, there's something available for you. And because I know from my own personal experience that talking about it is very helpful. And I know for a fact that reaching out for help has been helpful for me too, and it has been helpful for others. So it's that simple.
It is that simple. Just reach out, and this can be for, it can be for if you're feeling the stress, or if you're feeling anything, mental health way. It doesn't have to be big. It can be small. Reaching out is something that you should check out.
Absolutely, and there's nothing wrong with not feeling okay. It's okay to be challenged, but it's also okay to reach out for help.
And if people want to learn more about the Manitoba Farmer Wellness Program, where can they go?
www.manitobafarmerwellness.ca. There's information there. And like I said before, there's an email address and a telephone number. If there's any questions you have, feel free to call. I'm going to be the one that answers that call, or I'll be responding to the email. So I'd be happy to chat with you if that's what's needed.
Absolutely, and if you missed any of the conversation with Gerry this morning, we'll have it posted up on the on PembinaValleyOnline.com later on today. Gerry, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this morning.
Thank you, Ronnie. It has been a pleasure, and thanks for having me.